And Beard from Caravana. How are you?
Very good. Yeah, yeah. I mean, keeping my head up in these times. How about yourself? All good?
Yeah, as good as can be, I suppose. It's pretty bizarro times.
Yeah, it's interesting one. Hey, I was doing a bit of a talk last night. Just a bunch of my fans on my Instagram account was talking about, just basic discussion around this time and how important I think it is just to be talking, whether or not people want to take the positives or negatives out of it. I think it's very important right now to just be talking and expressing how we feel. So I'm lucky I have music in that way. So it's nice to be chatting about it.
Yeah. So, what's your situation? Are you a full time musician? Do you have a day job?
Yeah, no, no, I'm a full-time musician, and well, was it about a week ago? But
Yeah.
yeah, no, yeah, full-time musician. Have been for about the past 10 years or something like that. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey, full of highs and lows, I think as well. But it's been hugely rewarding, especially I think anything when you make your love into your work, it's always going to have the ups and downs. But I'm ultimately very grateful to do it for sure.
Yeah. So, what was the band in the middle of just prior to this lockdown?
We just released the song, our new single Charlie, which we had recorded up in the Blue Mountains a couple of months ago. So yeah, the band actually came off one of the best run of shows that we've ever played. I'd say over in Western Australia, we played a festival called Nanut Festival and headlined that, and then played two other shows. So I mean, in a way, it's kind of we have a nicer taste in our mouth because we kind of came into this lockdown on one of the biggest highs of our career. So it's feels nice to kind of be thinking back. So what was the last gig I played? Oh, that's right, it was in front of 2,500 people in a beautiful natural amphitheater. So that's been a bit of a silver lining for us for sure.
Yeah. You mentioned the single Charlie, which you wrote. Tell me about the
Hmm.
song.
Yeah, I mean, we were rehearsing and writing a bunch of tunes, and Luke had this guitar riff that he had written in Portugal the year before. He was like, I think this is something. This feels like something. So we started playing together, and straight away there was a melody that kind of came in for me. I could kind of see how it was going to build the story, and I said, oh. Let me take this back to my space, which is actually just here, as you can see behind me. Let's bring it back here and see what happens. So lo and behold, about a month later, we had to go into the studio, and I'd kind of produced this song and written it about just opening up to people, I guess. And in music, it's like that. You have to be very open in order to create with one another. And I think there's a lot of correlations with conversation and those sort of things, as there is in music, as there is in normal day to day life. So that song kind of came for me, and the meaning behind it around reaching out for a bit of help and realizing that I was kind of going through a bit of a hard time, but how sometimes we don't see that. I think as individuals, other people can see it around you, but it's a lot easier to. For me, I know I kind of needed to come to the conclusion myself and ask for help. And once that happened, the whole onslaught of the information of this song kind of dropped down and was written within probably about 20 minutes or something like that. But yeah, it definitely feels like a song that was written about a certain experience, but I feel like it's at service to a much greater thing. And what that is about opening up to people when you're not feeling so good and knowing that there's people around you that love you. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's basically it.
The bass part in the single motors along pretty well. Did you try different approaches to the bass part?
Yeah, we tried different approaches, but ultimately found out that sometimes the bass line really just needs to support the rest of the song and the rest of the idea and the melody. So it's about Kiss, keep it simple, stupid, and I just drove it home. So and it feels good.
Yeah. Tell me about your stage setup, your bass and your amp.
Yeah, my actual setup is pretty basic. Actually, I've been a bit of a traditionalist, I guess, in the sense of a bass guitarist. I kind of came at it from more a guitar world, and it was more out of necessity, I think, out of anything. But now I literally run a tuner pedal and a Sans amp, and the Sans amp's been great because it's so versatile. We play a lot of different stages, especially over in Europe. So it's nice to have something like that. But sometimes I can even bypass my amp. These days I don't really tour around as much, so I needed something that was versatile and could travel. And yeah, the Sans amp is, I mean, like every bass player on earth would know, is an absolute treat to be playing with. But yeah, that's basically my setup.
Yeah. So, what is your bass? Where did you get it, and what do you like about it?
Yeah, For me, it is actually I've got it right here. Look at that! My goodness, one I prepared earlier. So it's a Fender Jazz,
Yep.
and it's a workhorse. You might be able to see in there, but it's pretty dirty, and it really the reason why I love this instrument is purely because it feels good under my hands, and I know when I plug it in, it's going to work. And for me, as far as songs goes, I need to have that assurance with something, knowing that it's going to have my back, and knowing that when we do a 16-hour flight and an 8-hour drive, that I can pick my bass up out of the back and it's going to play. I've got a lot of other nice instruments here, but I think at the end of the day, when it comes to bass, for me, it's the same thing. It's about making sure it works, making sure it feels good under the hands. And I'm a predominantly a songwriter, so I needed to make sure that whatever bass I was going to choose was going to be great for following melodies and making sure things were going to be highlighted in the way that I want them. And Fender Jazz basses are just bloody awesome.
Yeah. There's some amazing footage of you guys playing in front of an audience in Germany where they're singing the melody back to you. How did you go about building such a great fan base over there?
It was grassroots for us, like everything we've done. We went to Europe about 9 years ago, and we all bought rail passes. So we all had to basically take all of our luggage and lug between the Netherlands and France and Germany and all these places. So it was just about getting a few leads in and going for it. I don't know. It's a funny one. I've been asked this question a few times, especially by other artists and other musicians. And I hate being that person that says this, but there was just it wasn't a quick process for us. We had to commit to quite a few years of going back and showing people that we were going to come back and building on the brand. So, I mean, it's a funny one. I wish I could say, oh, we got in contact with that person and that label, and then this happened and then that happened. But for us, it wasn't like that. We needed to keep going back, but predominantly because we love music, we love traveling, we love writing songs, and we love connecting to audiences. So for us, as far as our idea of success, the whole touring Europe thing became quite easy and natural. It just took time. So for us, getting back to your question, we just had to keep going back and keep building our brand over there, and letting people know that we were going to be there every summer.
Yeah, and because of that, you've recently been signed to a European sort of label or agency.
Yeah. So they're the biggest independent music label in Germany, and they're based out of Berlin, and they've got some other artists like Moby and Bjork is on the label. So they basically heard these songs, a couple of songs, Charlie, and another song we're going to release next, and we're like, we really love the direction of where you guys are going. We know you've been here, and we know you're serious about what you want to do. We want to jump on board and be a part of this. So that was basically, a culmination of a couple of years of work, but ultimately always coming down to the number one thing that no matter how much you talk about success in this business or whatever you want to do, it all comes down to the song. And for us, it came down to those two songs. They believed in them, so now we move forward. So, I'm super stoked to be part of their team.
Yeah. So over the next period of who knows how long that we're isolated, are you able to do anything musically with the band? I mean, are you technically set up to send files to each other, do some writing?
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. We've kind of done a little bit of that over there in the past. So I pull up just I love using Logic. So I just create a bunch of beats and kind of generate a lot of ideas from this space, which I actually love doing. Like, got an old Wurlitzer here, a bunch of old drum machines from, the early 70s. So for me, it'll be a bit of that. But I think, to be honest, over this time, it's about, I don't know, there's a deeper thing for me right now. As an artist, a lot of my things come from kind of deep thought and connecting with people, and then the music comes. So I think for me right now, in answer to that question is like, for us with the bands, I think I know me personally, I'm just kind of digging a little bit deeper and seeing how I exist within everything that's happening right now. And naturally, even just talking about that, thinking about that, there's been a whole bunch of music ideas that are starting to come. But it's nice to kind of know my process after all these years and know that I need to have these conversations with people, need to flesh things out, need to ask bigger questions because it helps me find little side doors into ideas for songs and stuff like that. So, it's going to be a busy time, but in a very different way. So looking forward to it.
Are there particular albums or artists that you turn to for comfort that you'll be listening to?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I listen to a lot of kind of like neoclassical piano-based stuff. So, I mean, artists like Niels Fram, Olafur Arnolds, they're kind of like very minimalist, beautiful piano, electronic, sparse, open things. So for me, I spend a lot of time in that world. So I think over this time I'll go back there again. And I mean, I've had a whole, it's funny, I did that, but then yesterday this really quite dirty rock beat kind of came in and was providing a little bit of expression from angst that I was really needing. So I'm just going to let it sort of flow at the moment. But yeah, I think a lot of my listening is going to go into the solemn place, which I don't know, a lot of people could see that as perhaps dark or all these sort of things, but it's just a place where I like to go that makes me feel the most with music, and it's always great to start there for me. So yeah, Nils Fram, number one for sure.
Yeah. Over this period, how can people help the band out? Tell me about some of the merch that you've got happening on your website.
Yeah, so we we release all the merch from our website, which is great. So if anyone's looking at getting any shirts or vinyls or CDs, we've got a whole bunch of stuff on the website, which is good. But I think definitely supporting in that way, but also, I mean, also using this time to acknowledge that I think every other band, some bands are in very different positions to what we are. You know, I think right now, if there's anything that anybody can take away from this time, it's just showing a bit of support and love for some of the bands that you listen to, even if that is on through online platforms and going to their direct messages on Instagram or going, you know, posting comments, letting people know the first time you heard a song. I think now's the time to really realize that artists are kind of needing that. They're needing that, not like, I don't know, assurance, but I think they're needing that love to be reciprocated a little bit. Music's something that you're always giving because you love it, but I feel like as far as everyone else goes, those messages, we've had a couple come in lately where people have really explained about how certain songs that we've written have meant very important and soundtrack very important parts of their lives. And I tell you right now, like as much as the money thing is very big, I feel like those sort of things are just as important, and it's nice to have those messages. So yeah, that definitely merch, letting us know how the music's having an effect is always great.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to most once this period is all over?
Oh man, probably going back to Europe, I'd say. I think at the moment we're in Europe July, August, so we're just going to have to see what's going to happen with that, whether it gets postponed or not, but definitely touring back over in Germany, and we've got a lot of friends in Portugal. We play a lot of music over there, so it's going to be nice to spend some time there.
Yeah. And recording-wise, you've got the single out. Were you aiming at an album or an extended play of some sort?
Yeah, so we've probably got an album's worth of music at the moment recorded, and but the way we like to do it is go in and just record as much as we can. So, I mean, ideally, if we were going to have 10 songs, I'd love to have good, solid demos, at least 20 to 25. So that way we could really whittle down the ones that we believe need to be on this record. You know, I think a big part of my creative process is about output rather than, letting things stew too much on an idea. I'm loving just throwing a lot of things out there. So, yeah, we definitely have an album's worth. Just depends when that piece of work is going to be whittled down to something that we want to release to everybody. But we're really excited. As far as the writing process goes, Caravana Sun's in a great place at the moment, and can't wait to get some of this music out. It feels good.
Yeah. Right, and Beard, thanks for your time, and stay well.
Hey, thank you so much, Greg. Really appreciate it. We'll chat soon.
Yeah.